Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow Tower of God Season 2 Core 2 anime enjoyers and haters. Welcome back for another anime episode reaction, review, commentary, reveal for episode 24 of the anime. With me as your host with the most, Chris Allen. And with me, my compatriot and guide in crime and criminality, the Hairline Cowboy.
Yo.
So, the Hairline Cowboy, Unholy of Holy. What'd you think of this episode? The Cost of Battle.
It was alright. I wasn't actually too bothered with it. And this is
Hmm.
surprising for an episode that had like a lot of action. Like there wasn't much, like there was definitely goofy moments, but there wasn't much that was like I had to pause and be like, what's going on here? At least not that I can remember. Maybe you'll point something out to me, but I thought it was alright. Yeah, that's like a quick one sentence review.
Okay,
what do you want to get into it?
What was your favorite? What was your not favorite? Actually, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first. I think.
Okay. All right. So, unlike last episode, if all y'all remember last episode's review, I really liked that last episode, but not for the right reasons. Some of it was good, and some of it was bad. But again, we're kind of used to it, right? We're never gonna sit here, and sadly, we have to keep reiterating this. When we say it's good, that doesn't mean it's good by normal standards. It's good by season 2 standards, because most of the shit was bad. But I will say this episode made me feel weird. I still like last episode more, although I don't think this episode was necessarily bad. I think they're moving really quick, but it wasn't too horrible this time. Like when the episode ended, I'm like, damn, okay, that's it. I kind of wanted to see more, and I was like, okay, they really like packed some stuff up in here. But this was like a halfway of a setup episode versus like they're teasing you a little bit. So they started setting up, but they also started paying off some of the setup, which is like really, really quick. But I think it's so weird because they're doing some stuff right now and they're doing some stuff wrong. Obviously, like Adrian said, this was an action episode. I think some of the action actually was decent. Some of it was bad, and it's the main issue is it's such a mixed bag. Like, there's parts where they go fast. The main thing they've been terrible at is choreography. Choreography has been horrible, and things just move way too slow. They move slow. They don't look good. They look low quality. Some of those things are remedied at some points in this episode, but they just flip-flop so much. It's a really weird thing to watch because sometimes they look good to me, and then other times it's like it just like loses its momentum. And it's really weird. Now, another random thing that I noticed, aside from all the usual stuff like eyes being misaligned, which isn't too bad like it used to be, but it's still there. Some of the characters, because in this episode we see Ro and we see what is it, Quants?
Yeah,
Not quite sure, right? Yeah, Quants. We see Quants and Ro, the tag team duo, and they look different from season 1. And I think Adrian said it like so funnily during when we were watching the episode. They fucking whitewashed Quants.
Yeah,
like
it looks so different.
Like if you do a side-by-side comparison, like they look different. Like here, Ro looks weird. In season 1, and again, right, this is where like me and Adrian are fans of the style of season 1. Not to say something like this isn't bad. It's just, it's different, and it's so weird. Like, he looks too nice, he looks too normal. In season 1, he looked more calculating, he looked more serious, even though it was simple. It's like these weird little ways that they decide to draw him and do it that looks really strange to me. But here we can see Quants. Like, when I saw his face here, I was like, damn, like, I know who it is, I know it's Quants, but it's so different from what I'm used to. Like, do you like season 1 Quants more or this one more?
I like season 1 more, but I might be biased.
I don't think this one's bad, though.
I don't think this one's bad either. It's just different.
Yeah, it's just different. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So, I don't want to necessarily ding them. I was just jarred by like this. It almost looks like it's higher quality. Like, season 1 Quants looks... I don't know how to say it. Like, it looks simpler. This one looks maybe a little bit sharper. But it also looks like he's less, like, colored in a way, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, this was a pretty decent episode for all things considered. And again, it's sad they're finally getting some of their act together, even though it's a very mixed bag. It's sad that they're getting it together here at the bare ass end, because we only have 2 more weeks of episodes because I believe it's 26. So they're moving really quickly. I kind of can assume what episode 26 is going to be. 25 obviously next week is going to be the big climax battles. I doubt they're going to go past that, but this one was good. Like there was good setup. There was some decent like development on what certain characters are doing, like Kasano and stuff. We saw like some people what might happen to them. We saw some setup with the fights and stuff. The fights again is like the main thing we're pretty much going to talk about. There's times where they're good, but again, it's just so varied, even within the same fight. Like there's parts, and especially for this Endorsey fight, right? And I know you're going to talk about this too, but even for this Endorsey fight, we'll show it a little bit here. There's times where they move fast. Like old parts of the anime here would have done this so slow. That was quick. Like, okay, the impact is slowing down. That's fine. That's decent choreography because you're showing the weight, right? Like when they hit and they slow down, that's a good point to slow down. Like earlier in the anime, they would have slowed the whole thing down, which is bad. But here it's not bad. But then there's moments later on where it's like, and I'll probably get to it back here, where they show like some of the combat. Like right here, oh my god, I saw this, I was like, what the hell? Like, okay, she goes here, boom. Okay, this is decently quick. This part here, it's like she didn't hit, but they still slowed it down. And then this is where I feel like it got a little slow. And it's like, he sends the dogs after her, but nothing happens. And then she says here, oh no, my dress is fucked up. We see nothing happen to her.
Yeah,
like, okay,
they never show the full body of people.
It's weird. And it's like, even if they did, I'm sure they wouldn't have changed anything either. It's so strange to me. But yeah, in the fights, they're okay. Again, by season 2 standards, they're okay. They're better. Like we've gotten like better stuff. I still think the last episode's choreography was on the same level, kind of as the Anak v Ran fight. I don't think this one is reaching that yet because there's so much more variance. But to be fair, it pretty much is. Like those 3 fights are like the best things we've seen so far. We'll see what happens next episode, but they're getting more consistent. But the problem is we're not where we should be, but they're better than what they've been doing. But it's not consistent, and it's weird. But overall, this wasn't a bad episode. I think the other main thing I really disliked, though, was just, again, the consistency. When Reflejo, or as they like to say, REFLEJO, started fighting, bombing them, I feel like some of the stuff kind of looked like kind of shitty and like ass. Again, this is where the choreography was like kind of whatever. Kun doing that, I was like, okay, wow. Look at his face here. There's times where Reflejo's face, like, oh my god, what is that? That's the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail to the video. We found it, but
find the timestamp before you.
Yeah, I got it. It's 17 minutes. But oh my god, like there was times they really focused a lot on like Repolletzo's face here, and then with Rack too. Rack sometimes looked really bad. Like it's just these little things, like the fucking like like look at that. I mean, obviously I know they're trying to like save budget or whatever, but look at this. Look at how he looks here. Like this is so bad. Again, he's in the background stuff, but like come on, man. You go from that to then right here where Kun's face looks cool as shit because it's a zoom in, obviously. When they zoom out, they really like to like not have details come in. But like, look here, he looks like beautiful Squidward too. Like, oh my god, it's just so weird to me. His eyes are glistening too. There's a lot of variance with Repolletzo here, and the fact that we're seeing some of his skin, where as we've shown in the manhwa, he doesn't have skin like that. It's just a little jarring, but the Repolletzo fight was really weird. I think Madarako was done decently well. Everything else was done well, but the Repolletzo fight, again, just had so much different quality at different times in the fight. It was like, at points it was good, at other points it was really goofy and bad. Like, he's smiling here. There's times where his mask is, like, smiling and stuff, but it looks like a mask, but it is, but it's not, because it's weird. It changes emotions, but it's not supposed to. It's just all this variance. I mean, it just bothers me. That's a nitpick, but I think this episode was pretty decent. There's some parts, again, like with the Shinsu stuff, like it felt like it was lacking a lot of oomph sometimes. Like here you see bombs like piss beams fighting this giant thing. I was like, okay, this kind of looks like whatever. They tried to make things like cool. I feel like sometimes they fall short. Like this is cool. This isn't that bad, but it's slow. But it's the same shit I always say. Yeah. So overall, this episode was pretty decent, though. It went quick. I think there was a lot of good things. Again, more consistent, but at the same time, not as consistent at certain parts, and it's weird. But pretty much decent. Decent episode, not bad. That's my thing. On to you, the hairline. What did you think?
Yeah, I want to pick up where you left off on the Reflejo fight. I think this is the weakest out of the entire episode, actually, which unfortunately,
Wow.
is probably the most high priority one. It should be the most high priority one because this is like the final fight.
Oh, I forgot to say this too. Hold
Oh,
on.
Horyun, yeah.
Yeah, before you start your shit. So, one other thing, and I can kind of understand why they do it, and I like it personally, even though I'm a little upset at it because I love Koryun. They really tried to make this fan servicey. As far as I remember, and we're gonna see this very soon, I don't think they did this in the manhwa to this extent. I don't think SIU was flashing Huaryun's fucking titties at us. And it almost makes it seem, and I wouldn't like ding people for even trying to think this, because they kind of like, subtly hint it, even though it's not what happens. You would think Reflejo like fooled around with her a little bit. You would think like,
He was
why is her
popping a
dress
feel.
undone? Yeah, like he's popping a feel, he's violating her in some like, not safe for work way. And it's like, damn, I wouldn't blame someone for thinking that, with especially how he says it and how they're showing her. And it's like,
Yeah.
I like the fan service, don't get me wrong. I love seeing Hwaryun. I wish I could gaze upon her body, but not like this, man. That's not right. But yeah, no, it's very more fan servicey than the manhwa was. And, sex sells, so I don't necessarily blame them, but it's a weird thing to change that. I know why they're doing it, I just don't know if I fully agree. So I felt weird about it, but there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more Hwaryun fan service, which part of me likes, part of me doesn't. It's a mixed bag. But either way, I'll leave it to
Yeah.
you now.
I think the voice acting was a weird direction with Reflejo. Like how creepy
Recolletto.
he got at times.
Oh,
I don't really know. I
actually,
thought it was kind of weird.
oh my god, fuck. I'm
It
sorry. I
felt
gotta
out
say
of
something else,
character.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, the other two things I will say, I actually like the voice acting. I think, and I've always said this too, the background music, I think sometimes goes really hard and really helps with setting the mood and the theme. They
Mm-hmm.
almost made Reflejo, and Kun kind of commented on this too, like Reflejo was getting horny off this fight. Like Reflejo was like, "Oh my god, I've waited for this for 1,000 years." Blah blah blah. And then they were like having some sort of like angelic music in the background, and I was like, "Okay, this fits really well because it's like it's culminating, and this is how Reflejo feels. He feels like vindicated. He feels like all these different things, and you could hear it in his voice. Like he's starting to like." Like finish in his pants a little bit, and I'm like, okay, you know what? They really, despite the visuals not really like lining up sometimes, the sound and the voice acting too, I actually think they went together, and especially the sound, like the background sound, it being like some like church angelic music. I really fucking like that shit. They do good with some of the most random shit sometimes. I'm like, why this, why not everything else? But that's it. I think that's it. Your turn, Adrian. Your turn.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, I think so. If you don't
Okay.
remind me of anything else, it's your fault. It's your fault.
It is my fault. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's weird that Reflejo in his shadow form still has like skin, kind of like in this thing. You can kind of see like he still has something behind the mask. I thought he'd be like more ethereal, kind of, in his little shadow form.
They do it way better in the manga, I'll tell you that right now.
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, this fight is kind of like the biggest shortcoming of the thing, and it's whatever. I mean, there's more time for them to get past it. Um,
Oh shit.
I don't mind the mask like changing. Like, how else are you supposed to make them look like spooky and stuff like that? I'm kind of okay with it.
But
It
there's
doesn't make
times where it doesn't, and then there's times where it doesn't. It's just
yeah,
inconsistent.
it's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, I
Oh,
think it's like
oh my
whatever
god.
your own interpretation.
It
It's a
had some
magical mask,
Squidward. It
guys.
had some Squidward, yeah.
Yeah, I never liked the way they did Reflejo. I kind of like the way he hit Rack like that. That was pretty cool. Oh no. The lighthouse is taking his chromosomes. Yeah. All right, you got. If you keep flipping through this stuff, I won't be able to focus on like what I want to
Okay,
say.
I mean, I gotta show the viewers
I
something
know
nice
you
to
do,
look
but
at.
you're distracting me too. I can't
All right,
focus.
we'll go to
I
a
gotta
different
lock
one.
in a little bit.
We'll go to like this shit then. We'll go over here.
Yeah.
We'll look
Okay.
at the
Cool.
Jays.
So yeah, I guess we've talked enough about that fight. Yeah, it could use some work, right? So, and when we're talking about this episode's pretty good. That's probably like one of the lower parts on it. One thing that I think is important, and this is something throughout the episode, I feel like certain parts aren't hitting very hard. Something to note is like Wangnan surviving his like grievous injury felt like it went kind of on deaf ears a little bit. Like they kind of just like quickly
It
like, yeah, he's
it
gonna be
didn't have
good, bro.
impact.
It didn't have impact. A lot of things this
The
entire
same with
season don't
Iwa.
really have impacts behind them. I don't really know how exactly they'd fix that. Like maybe more emphasis, a little more voice acting behind it, like more like added like an extra line, like emphasizing like how miraculous it is that he survived. They did a little bit, but I feel like it wasn't enough. But maybe anime
It's not a
onlys.
lot of setup that they're doing for these things. Like they're kind of
Yeah,
glossing over it. It's the same
yeah.
thing
As
they
far
did
as I
with Eva.
remember, yeah, season one kind of had a better way of like making things hit harder because like there was more like there was a lot of like evil people planning stuff. Like Han Sang Yu was doing like creepy stuff, and like he'd always say things all skeptical like, and it felt like more interesting once you saw like the final
Oh my
product. You're
god.
like, oh, this person thought of this and yada yada. And the last episode with Rachel putting everything together was also like a nice thing that like made everything click together
Yeah.
for season one. But here it feels like there's like a big lack of like hard hitting moments, and I can name a bunch like in the first part of season two, but it's just that here it kind of continues. So it's something I think they need to work on.
They
I
really
did like
changed
the
Rose
scene
look.
here. I like the scene here. Like sometimes when they're explaining things, it's kind of cool to show something like this, like showing the wall hike song as he explains it, especially
Uh-huh.
for anime onlys who aren't like 100% sure like what's going on. So I like that, and it was done pretty all right. Like I like the little hand drawn thing. No, nothing to be upset about there.
Yeah, except how
Um,
Ro looks different. Like you could definitely
yeah,
see he
except how Ro looks
definitely looks
different. Yeah,
different.
but that's like a preference thing. Okay, fine, fair enough.
Here he looks more manly. Like what the hell?
I like the Endorsey and Hots versus the two Mad
Beauregard.
Dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that pretty much. It was some of the best combat we've seen like this entire season.
And it's
It's like
so
up,
sad
it's
because
up on
it's
the
like
top.
it's only like 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's not amazing, and I don't think it's better than like stuff we've seen from season one. And people don't like season one combat, and that I get too, because season one combat isn't like crazy, but it's relatively fluid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see everything happening. Like you're not zooming in, zooming out, zooming in, zooming out between stuff. Like when Endorsey punches, it zooms in on her face, then it cuts, and then you see the punch hit, and like stuff like that. It's like it's hard to like you're jumping around too much in between the fight. Like you can't really like enjoy what's going on. It's kind of like one of those action movies where like the guy's shaking the camera so much, so you don't really know what's going on.
I
Except like here, it's like a little different. Like um,
like
let's
how
see if
she
we
was
can see
using the
something
bong
here.
bong. Like that
I
looks
like the way she
cool.
uses the bong bong too. Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't how I imagined it though. I thought the wings would be like popping out through the sides, but maybe in season
Well,
two,
we'll
like
we'll
early
see. We'll
time.
see what happens. We'll
Yeah,
see what
I'm kind
happens
of
in the
curious
manga
how.
and what happens next episode when the fight continues.
Yeah, I'm curious how it looks. I do like this fight a lot though, and I like Endorsey. I like the way they made her look and everything like that in this episode. I guess they care. They know that there's like a lot of Endorsey fans out there who kind of care like how she looks. So that's
Hmm.
good. Um,
That's like
what
the
else
extent of
happened?
the fight, really, right there. What
There's
I
really
just
much that
showed.
happens in this episode, is there? Huh?
Yeah, but it
It feels
felt
like this episode
quick.
flew really fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is there to talk about? So let's go somewhere in the beginning maybe. Let's like
Yeah.
jump somewhere in the beginning. Maybe we missed some stuff
Well,
here.
a lot of the Kasano stuff was happening too, but Kasano's main thing was he's getting something. We don't fully know what it is yet, right? And they kind of
Yeah.
tease that the whole episode. So again, that's more of the setup. But they were like,
Yep.
oh yeah, Kasano. Even Beta mentioned it too. They briefly touched on Beta. And it's
Mm-hmm.
sad too because now Beta's time is basically done. Like Beta got dealt with. He's obviously still there, but now he's not the villain anymore. He's done up. And even Beta was like, oh my god, it was Kasano. Why did he do this? Why did he get me? We see Kasano
Yeah.
dealing with Madarako. We don't really know why, but I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that's good storytelling. They're following SAU's story there well.
Right. That is good storytelling, but it's another point where it's like it didn't hit as hard as it should have, I think. Because that's like this is
Mm.
one of those instances where it's like, and I've seen this in like books that I've read before, where it's like you think you beat the boss, and then you're like, guess
Wait,
what? There's another
yeah,
boss
there's a
behind the
secret
boss.
boss. Yep.
So it's like that's kind of like what's happening here. But like Beta kind of felt like we just stepped over him after, and it's just like
Huh.
okay, on to the next.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do better, but like all in all, this was a better episode than what we've seen before, and there were like it was something I could just watch through and just enjoy for what it is. As
Mm-hmm.
a someone who reads the manga and already knows what's going on, so I don't really like care about how. I mean,
Now,
I care about how hard they hit like with certain things, but like I know how it should feel, so it's like I can kind of fill the gaps, I guess, a little bit.
yeah. So I was gonna
It
ask you
doesn't bother
that.
me as much.
Here's my big question: do you think it doesn't bother you as much because they actually are getting better, or because we're beaten down and we're kind of just like disillusioned at this point? Like we're just like, fuck,
Yeah.
man.
Probably a little bit of both, honestly. Like if it wasn't so bad for like this many episodes, like we're 24 in now, so it wasn't this bad for this long. I don't think we would be accepting this sort of stuff. This would be like one of the bad episodes if like that was the case. But
Kind of grasping at straws at this point.
yeah, it's all relative. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, it was.
It is.
It was
There isn't
okay.
too much to say about this episode, I don't think. But besides that, like it's on
actually
the
using
up.
the love disc.
Yeah, if they keep going up here, they might be able to end it on a good note. I think at
Decent,
least.
hopefully. Listen,
Yeah.
next episode, and this is kind of the weird part, right? I've long given up thinking things would get better. For some odd reason, they kind of are in very
Mm-hmm.
different, weird ways and small ways, but they kind of are getting better. It's like, again, why couldn't this be the case for the rest of it? Why can't it be better, like a lot? But it's just like, damn, at least they're trying to end it somewhat like better. Like we could see where the resources are kind of going, I guess. But next episode is the real big like. It is the last proving point. It's the last chance. I doubt there's gonna be anything in the final episode, but we'll see how they space things out. I don't know if they really. I mean, I'm pretty sure they skipped over stuff, but I really don't know if they relatively. I'm trying to think how to word this. They skipped over things, sure, but I don't know if they're really gonna change the position of things because they like to change the position. I don't know if they did that here. Like skipping and changing positions are two different things, but
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna see. We're gonna see what they do next
Yep.
episode. But yeah, no, this one was decent. Again, it's better than most of what we've gotten. I think it's near the top of some of the episodes, but again, nowhere good, but decent. Definitely like a higher episode for sure. Which, considering the trend and considering we're nearing the end, I think that's fine. Either way, do you have anything else to add about the anime, Adrian, or no?
I think that's pretty much it. We can go to the
Yes,
manhwa.
the manhwa comparison. So here we can see how much better it looks and how Hwaryun's tits are now. So this is where we left off last episode. Pretty similar to how the anime was, right? Obviously, there's going to be always more details, more dialogue, more information. But yeah, here we get more of how Reflejo kind of caught them. We didn't get that in the anime at all. We see like, how they kind of fucked them, which is a good thing too, because this foreshadows something that Kun actually might have picked up on in the episode, right? Kun looked at what's going on with the situation, who's captured, who's this, who's that. And Kun was like, wait a minute, she's a hostage, but what if, right? And then he kind of just left it there. He's teasing us. But this is where Reflejo kind of mentions it, and this is where we get again, and this is what happened with Yiwa and with Kasano. This is where we get more of an impact when these things unfurl. He says, "Wow, I didn't expect you to put a tracking device in his pocket. Even the guide didn't see that coming." For those of you who don't know, guides basically almost know everything. They're like fucking cheat codes, realistically. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you got one over on the guide," which is very uncharacteristic. So either way, here he kind of glazes Kasano, and Kasano again, just the looks of them look so much better. Like here, Reflejo looks a little bit like emaciated. He looks a little skinnier, but
A little hungry, yeah.
yeah, a little hungry. But it's just like Kasano looks like just like he's done with this. Like he doesn't want to be here. He just wants to leave. He wants to get his shit done and leave, right? And here, he's asking, "What are you doing this for?" We don't see who are you in tits. Here, Kasano says, "I hate all of you." Here, like Reflejo just looks so much cooler, and you see like I think those are the shadows like coming out of his eyes a little bit here. Am I wrong with that, or
Mm-hmm.
is that what it looks like? Like
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
it's so cool. Either way, Slave in Utero, here we go. Here we get a fucking flashback. We never got this. We see how Kun left his team to go do his own thing, right? And then Shibisu's like, "Oh my god, why are you leaving?" And Kun's determined. "Oh my god, I can't believe we skipped this." And then also he left in like the middle of the night, right? Because Rack is like sleeping. Like, oh my god, he's going with Rahel. Because why? Why is he going with Rahel? Then Shibisu's kind of revealing it to us. He knows that Kun thinks Rahel like did some shit, and he's kind of like regretting everything. Oh my god, I can't believe they skipped this, man.
They might be saving it for later.
Maybe they're switching it. So
But
potential
even if they did
spoilers.
save
But
it for later, usually when they save things for later, it like screws things up, in my
yeah,
opinion.
it's not the right order they put it in. But oh my god! So here we get back to where we were in the anime. Rack is happy, and also another thing in the anime, it was a nice moment. I think it hits harder in the manga because in the anime it looks goofy because Rack is like slightly jumping off the ground to show his happiness, but it looked really bad. Here,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even though there's no action, there's no animation, for me it just hits better. But here, you know, we see things are just they feel more serious and less goofy because of the way it's presented to us. But here, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they're happy, they're hugging, everyone's happy. Shibisu, and you know, this hits harder because we saw Shibisu even question, like, man, like I wish Bomb was with us. How would this time have been different if he was with us? And they're finally all back together, and
Yeah.
Shibisu's like, okay, like he's happy again. Like,
Yeah,
oh
this
my
shows
god.
why like some of the things just don't hit quite as hard in the anime. Like they're missing moments like this.
Yeah, the other biggest example of it was when Tarask, as they like to call him, or Horiang, was dancing with Gosang. I think they
Yeah,
really fucked that up too.
they really did. Because not only did they move it, like they moved it around as one of the things where like they skipped an episode to play it, but like they messed up the whole setup and decided to change everything, and then took way too much time on it that it felt
Yeah.
awkward to watch.
And then when they actually showed it, they danced for like 2 seconds, like awkwardly,
Yeah,
and I
and it
was
was
like, "What
poorly
the hell?"
animated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my god, it was so bad.
it's yeah.
But either way, so here we see everyone is, you know, it's basically like the anime. Rack is like, oh, now we just gotta fuck up Bug, blah blah blah. And then Yi was noticing, like, oh wow, I didn't know, you know, Viol could be like happy or whatever, like he's a human being. But Yi was always fucking like the little like oddball here. She's always like trying to fucking like be questioning of him. But either way, here we get we get Quattro doing some bullshit. Or is this is Quattro, right? Not
Yeah.
Quants? Okay, cool. So here you get Quattro doing his bullshit, and then Arc Raptor's here. I think Arc Raptor looks way better than Manhwa, as always. And then, you know, he's asking where Horiang is. I thought this was a stupid question because Bomb teleported in as a weapon. You know, he teleported in as an item. They can't teleport two things at the same time, so it's like, oh, no wonder he's not here. But either way, you know, this is where, ironically enough, Arc Raptor says, oh, yeah, it's Horiang. He'll be fine. And then we know what's happening to Horiang right now. So here, Wangnan actually is shirtless. I believe in the anime when they showed this, and I'll corroborate it right here. When they showed Oji-san over here, he was just in it. Yeah, like look at this. He looks fine, like nothing happened, even though he got fisted. Here he has his shirt off, he has some bandages. It's small things, but it's like, come
Mm-hmm.
on, like you couldn't
Yeah,
even
these
do
things
that.
add up.
Yeah. So here, you know, he's asking like, you know, at least we didn't have we didn't have to kill Beta, blah blah blah. Beta lost his Yankee with no brim, even though it's right there. And then you know, now the problems start now. Sophia's like, fuck man, you know, this is where she's kind of blaming herself, which shows that Emily lied. You know, she does care about them. And then Bomb comes in, and Bomb basically sets her straight. You know, they liked her, like, you know, they're cool. And here, yeah, oh my god, this part was so funny. I think they did this pretty well in the anime too. We just see like Yiwa and Rack in the background interacting, and Rack basically tells her like, "Oh, can you buy me a spear?" Because she wants to buy something because they're technically still in a shop. So that's how Rack gets his new spear, which I'm sad they didn't make a bigger deal of, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So here,
Yeah, it was
Kun
alright.
looks, yeah, Kun looks so much like better here, dude. Look at how cool he is. Like in the anime, did
Mm-hmm.
they change his like style? I mean, he still looks good in the anime, but like in the manhwa, oh my god, I don't know, the hair is like kind of
Yeah,
cool
it
to
doesn't really
me.
focus on him too. Like you see how like darkens the background a little bit as he starts to think.
Yeah,
Like,
now it shows you like, oh yeah, maybe it's because you know, he's thinking about the future. Things are getting dark again. Like we're not out of the woods yet, right? And then here we have you even asking like Rack, like, oh, don't you like the spear that you have? Again, more details, right? So look at what they say. We just met and we're going to die. But either way, now Ro comes in and you know, he was taking care of some shit. Oh my god, look at him. Look at Ro. Oh shit. So here, you know, we see Punk and Daft, I believe his name was, you know, Daft Punk. They're arguing. They're like, "Oh my god, fuck! You know, this is all going wrong." Madarako looks a lot more broody and dark because he is. And then you know they're arguing about the whole game basically going to shit, right? So the workshop battle is postponed for a bit, and the finals are going to be delayed. I don't remember if Rose said that in the anime. Did he? I don't think he did, but either way, regardless, more details. So here we could see same thing as the anime. He has someone on the inside who we eventually found out was Blueberry Hotchling. Here we could see there's a ship here. You know, we'll hijack them. Blah blah blah. Here we get more detail. Mr. Shibisu didn't get summoned to the waiting room not because there was an error. in the system, which is weird. But either way, this is where Rose basically like, yeah, we're getting out of here. We don't need to be here anymore. Until we see this, where Reflejo's like, this is weird actually. I thought, okay, they might have it next chapter, but in the anime, when Reflejo called Bomb from Hwaryun's thing, I was so confused how he knew it was Hwaryun. There was no like caller ID or anything.
Yeah, they made no indication to
Yeah. In the manhwa, it would kind of say like, oh yeah, like Hwaryun's pocket or whatever. But in the anime, they just skip that shit. But here we see all the simps are escaping. Madarako's not pleased, right? But he's saying like, we kind of got to do something too. Here, this fucking weirdo comes in, and let's see what happens. So we keep going. Again, the Shinsu just looks so much better here, man. It's so sad. And look, they even say what it's called. The Mad Shocker. They never said this in the anime. We don't even know that. Like, if you like, blinked and you didn't see Rat getting new spirit, you wouldn't even, like, know it. But either way, here Rose telling them the whole plan. We could just leave. Fuck this shit. And then look, in the anime, this looked better. 100% this looked better, I think, personally. It could be a sort of, does it rustle your jimmy sort of thing. I like the way they showed in the anime. This is a different style, but the anime really had it good. But here, Woolhike's song gets introduced again, and Shibuya's like, oh my god, you met Urek? He's like, yeah. Here we see Urek. I think the anime did it good, but they also have more to work with because they already animated it. They showed the scenes they already did, which is fine, but I think it was good. I think they did that. This is where I think they glazed Urek a little harder in the manhwa, though, which is good, because again, certain things just don't hit. I don't think people really understand how crazy Urek is if you're an anime only. You kind of just think, oh, wow, that guy was pretty strong. But when they show strong people, they don't really show the difference in strength from someone like Urek and someone just like a ranker. You would think they're kind of near the same level, but they're really fucking not. Now, that could be a mistake on SIU's part, because SIU kind of did say he regrets showing and doing Urek the way he did so early on. And, from later on, what we see, oh mama. But, I think just showing his back here, I think this does actually do worse than the anime. I think the anime did this better where they showed, like, the whole, like, scenes with him. But that's fine. Here we get the idea that Ro, saying Urek is interested in him, blah, blah, blah. And basically that's why Ro's here. So now we understand that. And here, we actually get the caller ID. We actually see why Bomb thinks it's her. Mm-hmm. And then look who's actually calling. Oh, shit. So here we do have, not a lot, like, it's not as prominent, even though, her stuff is ripped. They don't really show a lot of cleavage and everything. And it's very low-key, right? So here you could see Viola's, like, shocked. In the anime, he was more angry, like, oh my god, what did you do? Here he's like, oh shit, like, he was caught by surprise. Like, Reflejo is such a little asshole, too. Like, look at what he's saying. In your rush, you left the guide here. So, and he says this different in the anime from the manhwa. Here he says, I gave her a lesson on manners. I think in the anime, he said, like, oh, he gave her, like, a punishment or some shit. I forgot what he said. Let's actually see it right here.
Sounded kind of freaky.
Yeah, oh my god, the way he sounds like, hey, yo, what are you saying? So let's see what he says. If you don't come to save them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I think it's at the beginning. Yeah, a little special attention. Like, what the hell does that mean? Oh my god, Reflejo is a freak at the Diddy party. But anyway, here Bomb goes into what he was doing in the anime. He was getting angry, right? Okay, in the manhwa, he kind of said some freaky shit too, right? Oh, I gave her a little love. Oh, And then here we're seeing, again, they missed out on this in the anime. Guides are pretty valuable assets, right? These little, like, dialogue things show a lot more detail and a lot more information about certain things that do matter. Here we can see the shadows again are coming out of Reflejo's eyes. I don't understand why they didn't do this in the anime, but I know why they didn't do it, because they can't. But either way, Reflejo's like, yeah, you better come or I'm gonna kill them, blah, blah, blah. And look, I don't know if they said this in the anime. He said he's gonna keep Hwaryun no matter what. So, either way, he's challenging Bomb. He's like, come get her or else. And then here we get the reveal. This is, again, something they glazed over in the anime. Yuto and Hwaryun are the same. They never realized that. Like, no one questioned, wait, Hwaryun's here? What the hell? No, here's a, like, oh, that's Yuto. Excuse me. Here, Shibisu's like, oh my god, Hwaryun is fug. Kun is like, I already knew that. Again, we're getting their inner dialogue. We're seeing people actually react to things. More detail, as always. So here, Kun is still thinking, right? A thug will eventually come get them, but he's interrupted. Bomb is like, I'm gonna go do it. Shibisu's like, oh my god, no, it's a trap. We just got you. And this is where even Rose like, don't do it. But here we see Bomb's nicest coming out. He's like, no, I gotta do it. And then, they're gonna kill her. Oh no. And then look, Kun wants to go with them. Oh shit. So here they did it pretty similar to the anime. They're gonna all go. The Raccoon Bomb team is back together again. So here Rose says, okay, I'll get you 30 minutes. That's about it. Blah, blah, blah. And then we get Quattro. We're about to go Quattro, see how he looks. And, Kun is like, if we don't come back soon, just take everyone, just fucking go. Don't wait for us. Cool. And everyone's like, all right, hopefully we'll see each other soon. And then, Bomb is like, oh, I should just go on my own. And Kun, like a true homie, said, nah, I'm not losing you again. I'm coming with you. Which is cool. They did it the same way in the anime, but here we just see more of his, like, sharp features in the manga, which I think is cool. His different hairstyle as well. And this is where they're still bringing up Emily, too. So, again, another things they glazed over in the manhwa, or in the anime. And then look who's coming in now. Oh, they didn't even show her coming in. So here we have Hwaryun kind of floating. Again, this looks better to me in the manhwa than the anime, but this is where they're kind of asking REFLEJO, like, oh, is he really going to come? And REFLEJO's like, yeah, look at what he did forever. And then, boom. So this is something they kind of skipped over in the... Well, actually, no. Is that an anime original then? Because not Hwaryun. And Dorsey came to them while they were still there, right? I think she was here. But I don't remember. I thought she came to them, but...
Yeah, she joined them first, and then they made the plan to do whatever.
Okay, and then they made it. So in the manhwa, that never happened. That's different. Here we see Ranmei's face. Ranmei's face is just way, way better in the manhwa. And here we see Endor is pissed. Oh my god, like, look at how cool this looks. They got the little lightning everywhere. Good. Oh my god. And then look, here is where, like, she's actually, like, just flaunting that she wants to be with Bomb, which is good. And then, we see the teams going along, and that's the chapter there. So we'll go next. But damn, we're like at 99. Holy shit. We really went through, like, the full 100 chapters almost. So here they're going. Again, we're seeing a lot more before they got here, and we're seeing a lot more just conversation, which I think is good. And then here, Kun is questioning Emily again. Like, this is not going to hit as hard now when they see the whole Emily things that get resolved.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this is why. So look, even Kun's like saying, like, oh my god, this weapon is crazy. But it doesn't matter because we have other shit to do. And then here we could see again, Rack is like, oh, how do I use this new spear that I got? Completely skipped over in the anime, where anime people might even forget he got a new spear. Anyway, so here Kun is basically saying the whole plan. He's saying, like, who's doing what. We actually get to see a little bit of Vespa, so we know Vespa's still there. I don't think we saw Vespa at all in the anime here. But we see basically what everyone's doing. We see everyone getting ready. And here they go. So this is where the anime kind of picked off. Bomb was like, oh my god, my guide. Then here we get to the ship. Here we see the big reveal too. We didn't know who this was yet. They kind of just revealed it in the anime, sadly. And we didn't know who his associate on the inside was either. So here we see, again, more interaction. We also see Laurie there. Laurie's right there. We didn't see him at all either, I think. But here, we see he's telling his compatriots what's going on. Then we get the whole thing from Sophia, which, again, has more detail, right? As always. Rose kind of asks, like, oh, if you want me to, like, help him, but if he doesn't have the medicine, what the fuck are we going to do? So she has the medicine for a month. I don't know what they're going to do after the month, but they'll figure that out as they go. And here we get Sophia's kind of reasoning for everything, why she did it. So, again, showing Emily lied. And then, this is where they're even, like, we could see Rose, I believe, in her thoughts here, That's why they gathered that many orphans, aka travelers, to Emily. So either way, we see more of Sophia's reasoning, more backstory on everything. And, this is where Bomb convinced her. Bomb basically told her, like, yo, you made them happy, you're a good person. Not really. And this is where, I don't know how the fuck this makes sense. This has to be the dumbest bitch in Tog history, maybe. She's like, oh yeah, I didn't know that the research was making the children unhappy. In the anime, we literally see them being shocked and tortured and screaming like
Pretty sure she was
monkeys.
there too.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, you don't know this is happening? Like they're not telling you they're in pain. You're not noticing children are going like missing when they have to kill each other in the battle royale. Like Sophia is so dumb sometimes, but either way. Here she's basically begging Ro, like, oh, can you help me? I think Ro does it way better in the manga. He's like, I give you my word. Like, he's like very respectful about it. And the anime, he's just like, okay, I'll do it. And then here Beta wakes up. I think, again, all these things just look way cooler. The dialogue's just better. The images are okay. Here we see, like, look at what the fuck Beta is doing. He put a bag over the teddy bear's head and was stabbing it. Like, this kid is fucking sick. Did we get that in the anime? Like, what the flying fuck? Let me see if we got that shit. Let me see. Where's Beta's shit? So Beta wakes up here. And then, yeah, they show a lot less detail. I mean, this part's good. Like, the close-ups on the faces, they have pretty much down, I think. This looks like a really nice image. But here, we skip out on all the other stuff in the room, which usually the anime does well. But here, we see, like, he's a sick little fucker. Either way, we go forward. The whole interaction with Madarako, I think, was changed actually a bit here. I think they moved it around, because here we already see him grabbing this vial thing. In the anime, they kind of, I think, wait to get to it until after the Endorsi thing. But either way, we get to the Endorsi thing with Vargarv, and then, this is where we're getting more details about what everyone is supposed to do. And we actually get some interaction between Hotz and Endorsi, which sadly we don't get. And we can see Endorsi really just abuses everyone, man. Like, oh my god. And this is where, like, they're showing kind of Hotz's personality, right? She's, Endorsi, I believe, is lying to them here. And then Hotz is like, oh, why are you lying? Because he's a very honest guy, which is funny. But either way, we go back here. So we see everyone's about to fight. They don't show Vargarv's eyes often, which I think is good. It helps his aura. And then here, we see Endorsi being kind of bloodthirsty, right? I want to rip off that face of yours. It's like, okay, she didn't say that in the anime. And then Ron May is kind of clapping back. In the anime, it seemed very more friendly. In the manhwa, it's very more, kind of, I don't want to say catfighting, but very more aggressive. Like, they hate each other. And then here, Ron May kind of pisses her off. And then she's like, okay, that's it. Because she talks about Anok's mommy. Here, the kick looks like it has fucking force. Like, look at that shit. Oh my god. In this anime, they did do it well, but again, way better here. Like, this is probably empowered by Shinsu, too, with the way the coloring is. In the anime, I didn't even know that. So this is where Endorsi's like, oh, I wonder who this is, right? And then, boom, what happens here? We actually see some damage to Endor, and we don't even know what it was. So this is where they keep things under wraps. Again, we've seen this stuff 100 times before. In the anime, they kind of just spoil things. They don't really care. They don't give any nuance to it. In the manhwa, they play around with it, and they hide things until certain times, which I think is great. Here, Endor's like, oh, shit, right? Like, he actually damaged me. Anime, we didn't see that. But Vargarv is telling her, like, oh, I'm going to fuck you up. So here we go back to Bomb. He sees Huaruyun. Look at, oh my lord. Look at how much cooler Reflejo looks here. So shadow-like. Oh my god. Like, if I saw this, I'd be like, damn, this might be the final boss. And he looks fucking crazy. And now we're going to see him look even crazier. Oh my, look at that. No skin, full metal, full shadow, cock out, max aura. Aura maxing. So here we even get some like things like, oh yeah, why does he look like that? Blah blah blah. And then Kuhn's figuring out like, oh shit, we might be in trouble here. So here, Bomb is saying like, oh, why the fuck did you abuse her? And Reflejo is a little fucker. So this is where again, this was a little bit different than the anime. He's like, oh, I don't think she'll be okay. In the anime, I think he said like, oh, she'll live like barely. So again, different sort of dialogue. Here, Bomb was like, oh, you were going to kill her from the start. And Phil's like, all right, let's go. This is where we kind of get a similar look here. I mean, obviously it is sideways, but we get a similar thing in the anime here. I think, again, it looks better in the manhwa personally, but as always, to each their own. I hope most people agree with me. And then, boom, like, look at this. Look at how clean and good this looks. Oh, my good lord. We actually see Endorsi's, like, leg getting, like, blown like a chunk out of it. And then here, he's like, oh, shit. The lighthouse looks way better from Ron May's side. And then, Hots is like he's just kind of here. Here, we see Endor. So this is where I think the anime did do well. I didn't really know what was going on here the first time I read it. Now that I've seen the anime, I kind of like that I know. She basically turns into the Bong Bong and then like runs away like that. I think that's cool. And then they're like, oh shit, we see some actual dress rippage here. Wow. And then look, like she's being a little asshole. Rodmay's saying like, oh yeah, your date's over, blah blah. And then she goes into Vargarv, and then we also get the confirmation that guess what? They have the blood Tamara. We never heard that in the
Oh,
anime.
spoiler.
Yeah, they're probably gonna say it next
They're gonna
episode for
move it,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna move it, but sadly, that's what happens when we do the review. But here we go. We have the blood Tamara. We see the effect, and guess what it does? Invincible. Invincibility. Look at that shit. It's the most powerful defensive equipment, and he has Shadow Wolves. So again, more detail, which even when we see it in the anime, they're probably not going to go into this much detail.
Mm-hmm.
They might make it look cool, though. I really hope they do make it look cool.
It explains why Vargarv ate the kick with his head.
Yeah.
In the anime, like I thought that was a weird thing for him to do.
Yeah, he just take them like, oh damn, was he that strong? But I
like,
forgot.
Anime onlys are probably thinking like, what the hell's going on? So if they squeezed that in this episode, it would have helped you have that understanding.
Yeah,
as to like why he's not really being careful with his defense.
Yeah, and this is the same thing I said with the whole Urek thing. When you hear that someone's strong, they don't do a good job of showing you how differences are in strength among strong people, especially in the anime. It's really dumb. Either way, here Ruanmei is talking more shit, and then, and Dorsey's still worried about the date, and Hots is actually being like, oh, damn. And this is where, for the first time, she's actually, and Dorsey might have some trouble. And again, here
we're getting, okay, yeah, I guess we're jumping to other people. I was wondering if they're gonna go through like most of the fight.
Yeah,
if that's the case, we might have to skip some of it. Just like
nah, we're
stay
good.
on topic.
We're good.
Okay.
Here, another amazing detail that they show. I think Iwa took off. Yeah, she did. She took off her heels. Because she can't run in fucking heels, even though she's a 10 family member. And Arc Raptor in the anime also mentioned that too. Like, oh, I can't really keep up with you. I'm just a regular dude. Here we see Vespa and Shibisu. I don't think we saw Vespa again at all.
This episode? Yeah.
Yeah. We see them meeting Quattro here. But they spent a lot more time with Quattro. Like, they focus on the weirdest things sometimes. Either way, Shibisu's like, God damn, we have to find him. We didn't see that at all. Where the hell are they keeping him? And then we go back to the Reflejo fight, which is going to look way, way better. Here, he's doing his shit. He looks way cooler, IMO, in my opinion. And they're like, wait, he's really fucking strong. And now look, we find out what we found out in the anime, although he looked way better here saying it than the anime. He's poking. And then here we get the actual detail, because in the anime I was questioning this. I was even like saying to Adrian, oh, do we know who this guy is? I don't remember this guy. And then look at what Bomb says right here. The Fug Executive. Now we know. Either way, Pokken gave him a piece of his power, and then there's shadow power, and then he could become as strong as B rank. Look at how this looks. This looks fucking cool as shit. And Kuna's like, wow, this is some bullshit. We're fighting a B rank regular when we're E rank. This is crazy. And, for some reason, Reflejo's like, oh, why don't you give up? Bomb's like, nope, I won't. I'm done with that shit. So here, he's like, this is where Reflejo's basically saying, all right, well, I'm going to kill you. Blah, blah, blah. Great, more fighting. Cool. And then, he's like, all right, get Huaryu. He didn't even say this, I don't think. Or maybe he might have. I don't really remember. But here we see, like, Rat going in. And this is the best part. We don't get this in the anime, and they've been teasing it here. He said it right before they entered the battle, and he's saying it again here. He doesn't know how the fuck to use this weapon. He's like, oh, I don't know what this is. It's new. But he's just going to try to hit him with it. Here we actually see the fucking names of the moves, which is crazy. Full Moon Shadow, the second Shadow, blah, blah, blah. This shit is cool. Kun, when he did this in the anime, we saw how terrible that looked. Here, he's actually looking like he's getting shocked, right? And we see what he's trying to do. Quad Q blockage. Reflejo shrugs it off. And he's like, damn. And then look, in the anime when they showed this, I thought this was so terrible. Like, the sizing was so off. Like, Reflejo looked huge. Bomb looked terrible. I was like, what the fuck is this? And let's see if I can find it here, because it really looked bad. Like, it's right here. It's right here. Like, it was so fucking bad. So look, he's telling Kun to give up. He looks like he's handsome Squidward for some reason. And then, oh wait, maybe it wasn't right here. It was a little bit past
A little
this.
further.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then they show the Madarako thing, which who knows if they'll do that there. They show the Simps, blah, blah, blah. And then, did I fucking skip it? Where was it? Where's
No, you're almost there. You're almost there, I think.
Are you sure?
Maybe we did pass it.
Yeah, me. Okay, hold on. This is important. We gotta show this shit. Where does Kun shock
No,
him?
I think you're close to it. I think you're very close. Just move back slowly.
Okay. Definitely before all of
Before the
that.
Shinsu stuff. A little further back. Like around there, maybe?
Let's see. Maybe. This is what I'm talking about, man. The anime is so different from the manhwa at points. It has to be around here.
The pacing, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, ordinary, you rank regular, blah blah. I think it's when he hits him with the bangs. Yeah. So that. Yeah. Here it is. So he stops him. He gets that shit out of there, and then here it comes. But and look at this shit. This looks so horrible. Here it is. So look at this. So they actually changed
compare
this.
That side to side.
They changed this because he's using the love disc. Here he's empowering his like movement. Like look at that shit. He looks like he's using like the Flash's like speed force here. He's quick as shit. REFLEJO's like he's so fast. REFLEJO hasn't fully noticed yet. He's not turned around. Here again they slowed it down, and it's like what the fuck. It's so stupid, bro. Oh my god, this looks so much cooler. So here he says the same thing. And look, REFLEJO is not scared. Like, you can see in his face that doesn't look stupid as shit anymore. Oh my god, it's so different. It's so good. So here we get to the Kasano thing. Here he's like, you know, he's basically saying, like, you know, the guy's asking him, like, oh, why are you making a deal with him? He's like, oh, deals need to be fair, which I like. Madarako's a businessman after all. But here we're going. All the Simps are getting beat up, and Traveler is basically trying to avoid all that. Here they're showing probably a little bit more, so let me do something real quick. Let me make sure I can show you guys this stuff. Okay, yeah, no, I can. They didn't even show a Traveler with his weapon though, which is kind of crazy. But he does have a sword with him. Here we see his feet, his socks, his prison garb, and then he sees the door, and you know we leave it off there. Here we get this amazing scene again. Bomb was like, I'm gonna fuck you up, but oh shit. I think in the anime they did this kind of wrong too. Like when Bomb was about to do this, they didn't really like accentuate it well enough that Hwaryun was being used as a shield. He kind of just held her in the area and then Bomb like left away. It really wasn't clear that he was using her as a meat shield. Again, you can kind of guess it based on what they do and say afterward, but here it's very clear. It's extremely clear. Like, oh
it's
shit.
mostly based off what they say that you understand it.
Yeah. And look, REFLEJO's trying
if they
to
didn't say anything, it'd be a lot harder.
Yeah. Here REFLEJO's trying to fuck him up. Again, this looks way fucking better. And Bomb, like, look at Bomb's face, man. Oh my god, it's so good. And we can see Bomb's actually dodging. He's fucking, like, hitting REFLEJO's thing. He's, like, bouncing off of it. Like, oh my god, this is so much better. And then he gets back on the love disc. That entire time, he did none of that in the anime. Like, look at this shit. It's so dumb. Like, are you kidding me? Like here, we see this. He's just flying around. Like what was that? What was that? That was terrible.
That was that whole fight sequence there. That's
what
that turned into.
So here we could even see Bomb tried to use reverse flow control, but it's not working. And why? We actually get the details. I didn't even realize he tried to use this on him in the anime, and they just skipped this because you wouldn't even know. It's so stupid. Here in the anime, though, he does say, like, oh yeah, I was made to, He says this weird. He said he was made to fight and beat Bomb. That's not accurate at all. Like, that's really not lore accurate in the slightest. Because we actually know his actual story. You guys don't know yet, the anime onlys, but this is completely wrong. This is where we're actually in the detail. He's a shadow, right? And look at what he says. He's gonna perish after the power is exhausted. So this is basically like him using 8 gates. He's done after this. We don't get that in the anime at all. They're probably gonna put it in, but I almost think they might not, because look at what he's saying. He was made to fight Bomb. That's not true at all. And also, Hwaryun has a shirt on. This isn't even her skin or anything. She's very well clothed here. Here we get the same image, or or the same scene in the anime that we got here in the manhwa. Rack is kind of like struggling to like stay on the lighthouse, which is funny. And then Kuna's like, oh shit, if reverse flow control doesn't work on him, what the fuck are we gonna do, right? He has Hwaryun, we're kind of getting fucked. Here, I think, let me see if yeah, okay, so this is where he forms the 5 bangs. This shit looks way fucking cooler. Bomb was like, oh shit, this is where it just feels better. And then again, we get the actual name of it, Demon Moon Shadow, whichever shadow it was before. And then Mom's like, all right, I got this shit. But what is he trying to do? He can't attack him. Oh, because he has Hwaryun in the way. Look at this shit. Cool as fuck Shinsu attacks. Rack looked really dumb when this part was happening in the anime. In the manhwa, he looks better, obviously. And then this is where Kuna's kind of noticing, like, okay, he's really good. He has all the shit. He has Hwaryun. But he's thinking, like, oh, he's using her as his hostage? Oh, shit, let's figure this out. And that's basically where it ends. So,
I agree.
Let me just see. Yeah, that's basically where it ends. And, yeah, we'll leave it there. Okay. So, as we always show, 100 times better in the manhwa, where they skipped a lot. I assume they skipped a lot. I didn't know they skipped, like... Again, to me, these are important scenes. They're not that long sometimes, but they're very important, and they make things just have more impact. So
that's like the missing piece. Like when I said in the beginning, I was thinking like something's not hitting right. Like they're just not doing things right. I didn't say explicitly why because I didn't really know why at the time, but now I see that like a lot of this stuff isn't really hitting. Not necessarily because of lack of animation or like detail or anything like that.
Although that's part of it.
I mean, it is a lack of detail, but yeah, it's not because like the animation obviously like has its points and like where it's helpful, like with like keeping attention and like being all colorful, enjoying and flashy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like these moments and making them hit, like these are things that could be solved with this budget if they just followed the story and didn't cut as much.
They're degrading it. They're degrading the story. They've already degraded the visuals.
Even if they're on a tight budget, they need to find a way to at least like show some of these things somehow, like in a quicker way, so that at the very least you have the boxes checked. It's like you're going off the list and you're like just going down a few rows without like even looking at some of these items that are happening in the story. And it's sad because like you only get one shot to do this. Like I doubt there will be another season 2. We've said this multiple times. So every time they skip content, I think that might be some of the worst things that they do. And it's not something we argue about a lot because usually we don't catch it. Because it's hard to when like we're talking about so many other things that are happening with the episode, like all the other issues that we have, the usuals.
Mm-hmm.
But this is probably some of the worst stuff that they do, like the accuracy, and
it's the most egregious.
It's the most, yeah, because not only does it make the story more difficult, but it makes it harder for a season 3 because now the season 3 has to pick up where they left off. So if like if there's anything they didn't explain, well, they're probably going to be responsible to explain it now if they want to have like a cohesive story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good. I don't.
It's not good.
I don't really know what else to say. I mean, obviously, but
it's always the same shit.
Yeah.
You're here for the rodeo. You know what you're getting when you come here. But hopefully, we've showed you guys how much better the manhwa is. Hopefully, we've inspired you to watch it more, or maybe watch us read it. But either way, that's pretty much gonna be it. You have anything else to say, Adrian?
I think that's it. We're good.
Okay, cool. So again, compared to the rest of season 2. Above average episode, I would say, for sure. Compared to the actual source material, terrible, egregious, sacre bleu, ugly.
Yeah, could use some work, for sure.
Yes, always. Well, sadly, there's not much work they could do on it. It's almost over. But either way, I'm happy it's almost over, too, because this train wreck needs to just, like, die already, but it is what it is. We're here for the next 2 episodes, and then we're done. And then hopefully season 3, whenever that comes out, if it comes out, is either with the season 1 animators. Hopefully not the season 2 ones. If that is, hopefully they've improved, although I doubt it. Hopefully it's with the new studio. Best thing ever, they get Ufotable, they get Madhouse, they get God knows who, but not this one. Hopefully.
Yeah, all of them at the same time.
Yep. They do a joint collaboration project. Hey, let's finally make Tog good.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Tog fucked up so bad last season. We're just going to fix it a little bit.
Yep. Oh my god, that would be the dream, man. Because they could do so good. It only goes up from here. Like, story-wise, everything-wise, it just keeps getting better, man. And it's so sad, like, they don't get the proper version of that. But again, that's why you read or you watch us read.
this is what sucks because like you're making a building and like the foundation was okay with season 1, right? And then 2, it's like you just got a wooden frame. And
Yeah,
then
it's
season 3, like
ugly.
what are you gonna build on this wooden frame? You know, it's like
Oh my
it gets
god.
harder to keep the story cohesive when like you have like a middle season that's just like what the hell happened
I
here?
know.
Especially if they change animators, we're gonna go like from one animator to another one,
I think
and
that's
like
fine as long as they just make it good. I don't care if
yeah,
they change
I
it.
think
It's
it's
gonna
fine too.
jar
But like
people, sure, but we'll get over it.
yeah,
We'll
yeah, I
get
think
over
so
it.
too. Yeah, but it's
It is what it is.
directors and stuff have their own takes on how things work, and this one had instances where they straight up forgot certain plot points, so
Yeah.
it always worries me. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, the anime is never gonna be 1-to-1 to the manga, but we can always
Yeah, that's okay, but
yeah.
there's like
There's
when
things
you
you gotta
haven't
do.
exactly, like
There's
you
things
can't
you
skip like
gotta
a
do.
whole chapter, you can't like miss all these moments and like just like
Well, apparently you
ignore them for
can
what they
because
are. I
the
mean, yeah, you
people like
can.
it. The people for
Right,
some
right.
reason like it. And that's why I will always say, I'm going to say what shouldn't be said, what people don't want to hear. The anime enjoyers, even though they don't know it, they're part of the fucking problem. It's not their fault,
Damn.
though. It's not their fault. They don't
It
know
is
what
not
they're
their fault, yeah.
missing. If
Yeah,
you
if they
watch us,
read,
though,
they'd
then
probably be
you
a bit more
know.
upset.
Yeah, that's why we make this shit, because now you
Yeah.
know. But either
Yeah,
way.
we're being mad at this thing because we want it to be better. We're not being mad because we like hate Tog or anything like that. Like
Exactly. It's the
we think
exact
it needs
opposite.
it deserves better than this is
We
what I'm
have
trying to
a
say.
standard that needs to be met to make this okay. Either
Mm-hmm.
way. That's going to be it. We hope everyone enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. And also, if you want more of us, watch us at Twitch TV Tecnics channel, especially when we read Tog.